we will begin this journey. And I'm pulling out a 5.5-inch square tile of Fabriano hot press watercolor paper. And this, let's see. And I cut these myself. You just want to do a circle. The way we would do it is to take our card and kind of, first of all, find the center. So there we go. From corner to corner, we make a little light mark somewhere near the center. And from corner to corner, and this would work equally well on a rectangle or a square to find the center of it. Where those two lines cross, that's your center. Now, then let's just go ahead and draw. Well, we can start there. That's what we'll do. We want to start here. Just draw a line somewhere like that and draw this line. Even if you're going to use a compass, you can go ahead and do this line drawing. So that gives you, you're going to need the center even with a compass, a regular compass. And we're going to need these lines because we're going to divide the circle into 16 parts, equal parts. So if you don't have, well, even if you do have your compass, the thing we want to think about, you can tell I'm not a geometry teacher, with this line is how far apart these little lines will be from each other as we make our circle. We go out. Here's the center, and then our first mark would be right about here. And then we want maybe a little thin divider, and then a bigger space, a little space, a big space, and then the outside border. We mark it in that way. So with our compass, we'll just, oh, here comes Sarah. With our compass, we would just mark these like right there, circle it around. I'm sorry? Oh. And then for the next circle, we spread it out a little further, circle it around, and so forth. But if you don't have that, you take a sheet of paper or fold a piece of paper or something and just mark on it. Here's the center of your circle. And then consider this line is going to be the distance from the center point. And we just mark those little doobies right there. And then just to show you how we would do this, going out from the line where that's the center, you just mark those points. And keep going around, finding the center, which is there, and mark those. And then you've got that. And then you come back later after you've kind of gone all the way around, and then you just connect the dots in kind of curvy way. And so you can have a nice Zendala or Mandala. It's nice and circular without having to have a metal compass. So, does that make sense, everybody? Okay. But being the supply geek that I am, I'm going to go ahead and use my compass. Although I do have to first mark where on those lines I want them. So on this sheet of paper, I'm going to find the center. I want to copy this here, and I'm going to find the center . And then mark where these different lines would intersect there. And then I'll come back here and mark those points on here. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my compass and go around in circles. This is maybe not the best angle on this. Okay, the outside of this circle, this circumference line, is about the size of the Zendalas that some of you got from Zentangle. So yours may come in a little bit if you want to leave some paper around the edge, or if you want to carry it out to the very end, you can do it that way. But these can be shrunk or widened out in different ways. And I'm going to take the next one. Sometimes in doing mandalas, you may want to put circles in other places. So I do have this little template that I use, which is, you know, sort of cheating, but I'm not the Zentangle police. And if it makes you happier with your results, as it does me sometimes, go ahead and use any tools that you think you need to use, including the eraser. So this then is our basic string. And for our purposes here, you can see here the lines that run through here every so many degrees. I guess 360 divided by 16, whatever that is. But then when we get to when you get closer in, you may want to use, you may want to leave some of the divisions out to give yourself more space. And next week we will probably use the same initial string, but draw lines in different ways to make our Zendala more interesting. This is just really basic. And I think really basic is a good thing. So the next thing we want to do from here is everybody now having divided it into 4 sections pretty much. Then just eyeball it. Try to find halfway between here and here, or if you want, you can put your thing across it, but just eyeball halfway. Between those points. You're probably a lot better at eyeballing than you think you are. And then divide those sections in half again. So we come up with our 16. It's funny how you can think you've really got this figured out just perfect, and then you draw the line and you go, that really is not exactly perfect, but it's going to be just fine. More opportunities. There we go. And if you want to draw these, if you don't have a ruler and you just want to draw them freehand, that works too. I'm lazy, so I'm just going to go for the ruler. I didn't bring a protractor. That may be going a little far. It sometimes takes a little while to set these the initial pattern up. There are all kinds of aids to drawing patterns out there. I've gotten a few of them. I won't go into them today, but maybe later on I can show them to you. I don't know, some of them seem to be carrying it a bit far, but oh well. Okay, at this point now I've got 16 sections. I think it's in the Buddhist tradition. I don't remember exactly, but some of you may remember where they draw these, where they make these mandalas in sand. Very intricate. They're sand paintings. And after they've worked for days sometimes making this beautiful pattern, they sweep up all the colored sand and go throw it in the river where it's carried away. And that's kind of to symbolize the transitory nature of life, and that all we do is someday going to go back into its original form. And so as you're doing these sometimes, think about how it's really the process, which is really a lot of what Zentangle is about, but it's a process of making this, not necessarily the finished result. That is the most important. And so doing so with a cheerful heart, and appreciation for all things, and connecting with God, that's what it's about. And if when you finish, you think, I'm not really excited about the way it looks, put it away for a few days and get it back out, and then maybe you'll change your mind. If not, realize it doesn't matter. You had a wonderful time making it. And it's funny, after I'd done part of this, I thought, I really don't like the way this is looking. But I said, I don't have anything else. I just need to carry on with this. I've already spent so much time on it. And I look at it now and I go, well, maybe, we'll see. So you all, well, maybe you don't all. Some of you remember our classes in the fall where we talked about Reticula and Fragments. And some of you, I know, are hearing those words for the first time. And so I'm going to get my book and show you. Reticula, a reticulum is a container for something. And our reticula, something's stuck here. In this case, are these little squares, little shapes that are going to be able to contain little patterns. And these patterns are fragments of patterns right here. Let's see. These are fragments of patterns. But these little pieces, these fragments, are little pieces that when they're put into a grid can make some very interesting patterns, meta patterns. For instance, we have this tangle right here, this fragment right here, and let's see, this fragment right here, one in the L column, one in the B column, and we're going to alternate it, and we're going to come up with that pattern. This pattern was made from J6 right there, this little pattern, turned different ways, became that. We get over here, all these patterns, meta patterns, are made from one little pattern turned and twisted and done in different ways. And so you can, it's kind of the way you put it together, which makes these perfect for putting into Zendalas. Because you've got these little pieces and you just do these little pieces over and over, and you can make some wonderful stuff. So this book is, you can get it on Amazon or you can get it from Zentangle Central. It's about $17 from Zentangle. It's about $24 from Amazon. It's very good. It's really the basic information you need to have a good Zentangle practice. If you've got Amazon Prime, it's real easy just to hit the button for Amazon. They just make them in paperback now. I got this some time ago. This is a hard copy, but the paperbacks are plenty good. The next thing we're going to do on this deal, and some of the things that I read, they talked about the artists that did them worked from outside in, and others maybe work from inside out. But we've done the first step in creating our essential string. And we're going to be working just with pencil, graphite pencil, and pen until we actually get the colors out. And so if we work from outside in, it'll be okay, and our hand going across it won't be a problem. When we get to coloring, it might be better to color from inside out or just to use a cover sheet so you don't smudge things. But for this purpose, we can go ahead and work from outside in. And so I think we need to grab our pen and begin. I'm going to go ahead and use my Micron PN. If you want to use your 01, go for it. But I've realized that I took all the lines I did with my 01 and I came back later and made them more defined using the PN. So might as well just start with a PN. And let's just trace. First of all, plant your arms. Plant your right arm on your desk, and you're going to be turning your tile as you go. You'll do a little motion with your hand, but turn your tile then as you go. Keep that comfort level. Doing it that way, in a way that's comfortable to your hand, you'll have a much easier time drawing this arc, using kind of your elbow as the center of your motion, as your fulcrum. And then turn it. I have found, and you may find as well, that if you repeat the same stroke with your hand and arm in the same position, you get more accurate and things flow more smoothly. And so I like to go ahead and work in a circle and then go around with one stroke and go a set of strokes, maybe even, and then go around and do it again and again and again. So now to do this, if we're going to work on this outside section, we need to go ahead and draw the line at the bottom of that. So draw that second line now. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat what I've done. These are little leaf shapes. We call this tangle poke leaf. It's really pretty simple. I'll just show you how to do it on the paper. Okay, well, maybe I'll start right here and just give you a little brief how it's done. It's got a little tail like that. That's a poke leaf right there. And then we're going to do the next one, kind of just pulling that stem out of the top of that leaf. And because we're going to go up this way, then we're going to do that. The top of the leaf heading the other direction. And then you come out of there and head at the top of the leaf in that direction. So back and forth, back and forth. And then we'll come back later and maybe put in those little orbs. Okay, here we go. No mistakes. Do it in pen, first time, go for it. You'll get better as you get around the circle. And I would admonish you to not work too small. Go ahead and, oh no, fill the space. This is your art. And if somebody, I've said this before and I'll say it again, if somebody says, but yours doesn't look like the teacher's, you say, well, she has a different style from me. This is my style. What I did on this was I came back later after I made it around, maybe with my 01. I went ahead and put in some little orbs. If for no other reason than I knew I was going to come back and blacken in the spaces behind this. And if I put these little pearl looking things in there, then I wouldn't have to blacken in so much. It had a practical reason. Wherever they seem to fit. And from here on out for the rest of the evening, I'm only going to work in one quadrant. In other words, I'm going to show you what to do, but I'm only going to work, well, I'll primarily work in this quadrant up here in this corner right there. And I'm also going to put my little sun over here to show me that's the way the light is going to hit this thing. Although really in a mandala, we wouldn't have directional light necessarily. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, and you can follow along what to do. And then later you can fill in the other quadrants. So within this quadrant, then I come back and I'm going to color in the background. And leave the leaf and the orb white. I'm probably not going to hit this one with much graphite. I'm pretty sure I won't. And so this will serve to give the border some weight and to make it heavier. Whenever you have put a lot of black in, it makes it a drama tangle. This black is saying, here is the end of this circle, the edge, the stopping place. Okay, I've pretty much done that quadrant then. With regard to these spaces, I want to use a fragment known as, it's more or less this F fragment or G fragment, and I'm not going to use these lines here. So it's just this part like that. And to do that, I'm going to cut this puppy in half like that. And then using my O1 now. I'm going to start up here. And I'll make a little arc. Go down to there. And there. You can make these as close together or as far apart as you like. The closer they are together, the more Zen flow, the longer you'll work on it. And sometimes that's a really good thing. And then I'm going to do the same on this side, kind of arching down like that. So I've got that going. And then let's fill in these other ones. Really don't need to necessarily do the line there. Just put a dot here in the middle, a dot there, a dot there, to kind of guide our eye. And then we come in. Questions? Just holler out. Okay. And then right here, I colored in this little triangle right there between them. Darken that in. Now, since this was making a nice little archway, I thought I'd put in this little fan shape. I imagine there's some tangle out there that has a name for this, but I'm just going to show you what I did. It's pretty simple. I saw this shape right here, and I put a mark there and a mark there. And then, see, this is that 2/3 thing that, into 3-part thing, which I have trouble getting even. But there they are. And then just draw a line here. And go ahead and use my pen. You don't have to use your pencil to mark it out. Just draw a line like that, like that, that. Kind of a fan shape. Like that. Well, I need this line too. And then I made this an arch a little bit. Put this one down like that. Put a little arch there and bring it on down. Because then we're going to go back and we're going to color this in. Okay. 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 Y'all have that figured out now? Okay, good. Let's move down now toward the center. I want to get all these done in the next 15 minutes or so. So let's move on down and go ahead and mark in this, draw in this line like that. Now, all I did on here, that's this space right there, and I made it a little narrower. All I did so far on that was to color it. I may go back and put some white design on it. I could, with my white pen, I can go in and do things like dots, or I could do, you know, little things like that or whatever. But I haven't decided what I'm going to do there yet. So I'm just going to wipe them off. Or you can just color it and leave it blank. I mean, and leave it plain. For right now, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to leave it plain. Then we're going to come back in here. And we're going to do these two. All right. So the way we do them, and we can go ahead and draw these lines in like that. Don't cross over this space, just draw in these quadrangular shapes. And then we're going to alternate the fragments. We'll draw the fragments by putting nice little orbs all around this one. And then skip one and draw orbs all around this one. And notice how imperfect these are. They're not exactly the same. It doesn't matter. By the time you get to the end, you won't even notice that. Then I come around in these two, and I sort of just do some little scallops. Around the edges. like that. Then we have these two spaces, and we're just going to divide this into quarters. Do a little bit of rounding on the line here. Rounding is always good. In fact, you know, I think instead of that other shape, let's just round these all. Let's round all these corners. I think I'd like that better. It'd make it look more like stained glass, maybe. Okay. These will come more to life when we color them in. Then let's look here and go ahead and draw this line. Right there. I'm going to extend it a little bit here. This is a tangle I love. It's called Wood, W-U-D, Wood. The way you make it, you just start here, kind of make this snaky thing that goes from the bottom to the top, to the bottom to the top, like that. Which is fine like it is, and you can color it in, but the real tangle, then you go and you just aura these shapes there. and then R them again. And then come in on the other side, same thing. There you go. And then when you color it, you can either color it and then shade the edges, or you can color it in with different colors as a snaky thing. This really is kind of a jumble of different themed tangles and everything, and yet I guess it looks like my life. I don't know. I had fun doing it. And now, so you can continue that. You can do that easily. This last one here, let me show you that one. And so we're going to divide this now. Let's put this line in down here. And we're just going to deal with the pencil. Don't draw any. If you've done it already, it doesn't matter. But when I did this, I just used these pencil lines. I'm going to go ahead and erase these so you don't get confused. You might even want to do that yourself so you don't get confused. This is fragment S2. S2 right here. And the way we do it, and the reason I picked it is it has Muka in it. And we worked on Muka last week. So you kind of start here and come around and do a Muka and then come back down. Learn your tile right here. Muka. Come back down. Start here, Muka. Come back down. Always coming off the head of the Muka. And you get that shape. And I don't know what I originally went in there and I colored these heads black, but it might be better to not do that. Let's go ahead and do the other one. And this one, we can do it the same way, opposite, or we can do it flipping it. We can do what we would mirror, like there. So we would start down here. It'd go Muka and come back down. Start at the head, Muka, come back down. And if you think I never do anything exactly the same way twice, well, you would be absolutely right. I like to vary things a little bit. In fact, I really can't help myself. It's just the way it is. And that's, I think, the thing that makes Zentangle so neat is every time you can do it slightly differently and just see how you really like it. So instead of coloring these things in black and making these thick lines here, I'm just going to leave them like that and go ahead and not in this part, but just on these edges of these outer things, just go ahead and fill this space in with more orbs and just see what happens. It'll have a different look. Just the ones on the circumference lines. And what that will do then is it will leave these spaces here for something else. Like right here really is a little heart. And we could do that in like a little heart. Maybe fill this in with something. Right here, I just did these little squares. Or you can leave them blank. Leave a little white space. But that's essentially what we're doing there. And so maybe I'll do one more. Going here. And you want to mirror that. And if they get a little cattywampus, it'll just make it that much more interesting. Okay. And now we come to the center. What I did here in the center is went ahead and filled in all my lines. Okay. Those are a little crooked, but oh well. And then between these two here, I put the orbs. like we did last week with our gem. So really all the rest of this is exactly what we did last week. And then the gem in there. And I guess for the gem's sake is what we really need this sun for. Because then up here we'll go in with our dark, aiming toward the sun, light down here. Okay. I'm going to point out a couple things here, so heads up. Here, when I colored in, I went ahead and burnished everything with the white. I used a lighter green, a darker green, a dark blue, and the white, dark blue, light blue. You'll pretty much, I'll send you a reasonably good resolution picture. You'll pretty much be able to figure out what I did. But I want you to know that here, I shaded it some with graphite. And then I came back with my number 10 and put dots. I think when I do this other one, I'm going to shade it with a color on those pearls, but still come in with the dots. And right here, I use the dots on the ends of here, just as decoration. It's just detail. It's just giving it some love.